You set goals, you get excited, you get started, but then life happens and you fall off track. You start feeling guilty about what you haven't accomplished, and then you try to start over again. In today's video, I'm going to share with you that consistency is not about willpower. It's about alignment. And many times we're spinning our wheels because we're doing things that are not aligned with God's purpose for our life. So I want you to stick around to the end of this video, because by the time you're finished, you're going to receive some transformational biblical insight that's going to allow you to really understand the real reason why you're not staying consistent. And the first one that I want to share with you is that you're relying on motivation instead of discipline. If we look at Proverbs chapter 16, verse number 3, it says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans." And many times we tell ourselves this lie: I'll do it when I feel motivated. But a lot of us do have that intrinsic motivation. But if we're being honest with ourselves, we would love to live a life of comfort where we can continue to do things that are not going to stretch us or make us feel as though that we're going to be in an uncomfortable place, and just kind of go along, coasting along as though all our needs are met and there is nothing that's going to challenge us, if we're really being honest. But what that does, it really doesn't allow us to live fully in what God has purposed us to do. Because anything that he has given us is going to require our faith, is going to require work, is going to require growth. And we know that growth is uncomfortable. And when people are saying things to us to make us be better than we were, we do experience that uncomfortability. But we don't want to tell a lie that, we'll do it when we get motivated, because sometimes that never happens. So we want to be sure that we build a discipline first. You want to think about those things that you have been undisciplined in, and continue to be intentional about ensuring that you've laid the foundation to establish a discipline that you can consistently do, to make sure that you're moving forward and having things in your life that are aligned with God's purpose for your life. So this is a time to examine those things. Take a look at what's going on in your life right now, and look at the places that you've been undisciplined. And if you need to, get a journal, write those things down, and surrender those to God so he can allow you to see what it is that you need to correct in your life. And then you start down that path that he has revealed to you. The next one is you lack accountability. If we look at Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 10, it says, "Two are better than one. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up." And a lie is that I can do this alone. Now, I was very guilty of this. I operated in a lot of pride. I was like, I don't need anybody. I can do this on my own. I am so tired of being disappointed with different situations in my life. I'm just going to just cut everybody off and just do things on my own. But I know that is not how God designed things. He has placed specific people in our life to help us to be able to push our purpose forward. And when we decide to be in isolation, the way the enemy wants us to be, away from all of our help, away from all of our support, cutting off and putting walls up around those that could be very well instrumental in allowing us to reach what God has ordained us to do. We do not want to operate in that place, because it's a very dark place. It's a place that, we get there, we get in our head and we start thinking things that aren't aligned with what God has for us. Now, there are some times that we have to be in solitude and hear from God and be in a quiet place, but this should not be a constant or consistent things, because even the Lord went away in solitude so that he can hear from our Father. But that wasn't always the case. So we want to be sure that we are creating space for others to be a part of that, and examining who those individuals are, because we want to make sure, again, it goes back to the alignment and goes back to making sure that these are who God wants to be a part of our life. One of the things that I have created and relaunched is a community that I would invite you to join, so that we can come together as like-minded women to build each other up, hold each other accountable, and really allow God to speak to us regarding our purpose. I have the link to the community in the description. And I invite you all to join and allow God to move in your life like you've never seen before. Now, there are some things that I decided to change. So I relaunched this group because I want to be very intentional about creating a space where women feel safe, they feel community, and they also feel that they can have someone who will hold them accountable and push them and encourage them towards the things that God has called them to do. So I invite you to join. I can't wait and see what God is going to do with this community, because I know that it's going to transform lives like never before. And the last thing that I want to share with you is that your system is working against you. And if we look at Habakkuk chapter 2, verse number 2, it says, write the vision and make it plain. And one of the lies we constantly tell ourselves is that I can figure it out as I go. And that is probably one of the biggest deceptions. We want to make sure that we're hearing from God concerning every step of our life. And He's going to order our steps. But that vision has to be established. And sometimes we'll see that vision and it'll be so big and we'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to accomplish that. But we cannot accomplish that apart from God. But if He's giving you a vision, then He is going to give you the provision, because you cannot really walk through and allow that vision to come to life apart from Him, because He has given that to you. And many times we're making plans or we're doing things that aren't aligned with God's purpose for our life, because we haven't even surrendered to Him to ask us to give us the vision for our life. And we, again, like I mentioned earlier, we're in this perpetual hamster wheel and we're constantly running and we're not achieving any progress or going anywhere because we are detached from our source. Just like when you plug a light into a source, you will get light. If you're unplugged and you don't have a vision, or you haven't surrendered enough to hear from God concerning your life, there are going to be many things that are going to be happening that you're not going to be able to accomplish, because you have not allowed God to give you the vision and to make sure that you're walking in His will for your life. So I encourage you to take some time to pray about what your life's vision is. And sometimes it is not being revealed to you because of some area of disobedience, whether it is that God told you to do something and you're not doing it, or God has revealed something to you and you're just kind of ignoring it, thinking that you have unlimited time to accomplish this. And also maybe some areas of pride, like I talked about before, where there were some things that happened in my life where I was like, I'm not dealing with people, I'm cutting everybody off, and really didn't allow God to cultivate that in my life because I felt like I had it all together. And of course, when we're operating in pride, we're not going to hear from Him, because we're going to think we have it all figured out. We're going to think we don't need anybody. And then that in turns put us in a position where we're feeling like we don't need God either. And that's a very dangerous place to be. And I suffered as a result of that disobedience and the pride that was in my life. And He stripped everything away from me because I was not surrendering to what He had called me to do. And I know that is something that is not a good feeling. I don't know if anybody has ever been through that, but I recommend that there is anything going on in your life, that is one thing you want to make sure that you don't ever want to experience. Maybe one day I'll share my story, but that was definitely a season in my life where God really showed me that He was in control. And when we think about our vision for our life, we want to create structured routines that's going to work for us individually. When God gives us a vision, it's not a conference call. It's only for us. And it's only going to be specific to our life. Now, it may involve others, but when God speaks to us about what He wants us to do in our life, we have to be sure we're being very intentional in understanding that this is what He's purposed us to do. And we create those structured routines that's going to work for us with His leading and guidance. So I wanted to share these with you because I think it's so important for us to really understand what it means to remain consistent, and some reasons that you may not be consistent and what those blocks may be. I hope this helped you. Now, if this is something that you are learning and growing from, I recommend that you subscribe to this channel and also share it with any other women who may be experiencing this right now in your conversations with other women. And most importantly, join the Equipped Woman community that I have linked in the description. I guarantee you, you won't be disappointed. And this is something that I'm so excited about because I know that God is going to really do an amazing thing inside this community of women who are ready to live purposed, productive, and prosperous. And one thing that I want you to make sure that you do, I want you to go check out this video. It's going to help you really understand some of the things that may be going on in your life in terms of what you're waking up and starting to do. And maybe there are some shifts that need to occur. So go ahead and check out this video, and I'll see you in the next one.